Hey everybody, I'm going to show you how to use FlipAnim on your phone today. And because a lot of people have been asking me questions about how to download and save and et cetera, et cetera. And also just to give you a little bit of rundown of what it looks like on your phone. Um, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into Google Chrome. So on your app, uh, open up the Google Chrome app and you're going to want to type in FlipAnim onto your screen. Okay, so up here at the top here, you see flipanim.com. And when you go there, it's going to be the general editor, and you're going to want to actually click where it says the new beta editor. So right here, you can see where it says new beta editor. That's what you're going to want to click. So I'm going to click on that to check out the new beta editor. And the new beta editor, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to scroll up a little bit so you can kind of get a sense of, up above, these are some sharing tools, et cetera, et cetera. We don't really need any of that. We're just going to scroll up a little bit. So this is really the view that you can have to work in. Okay, so whether you're working with your finger or you're working with a do-it-yourself stylus that I shared a video with in Google Classroom, or you are using a stylus that you have, this is the interface that you're going to be doing, okay? So right now, down at the bottom here, you can see if I click on this pencil tool, it brings up other drawing tools, some transform tools, and this gearbox, which is a gear icon, which is an actual setting tool, okay? So the pencil tool essentially works like a pencil, and you can actually draw in your construction drawing head, looking up maybe, let's say. Maybe the body is somebody that's, super thin, okay, and he's looking in that direction. Maybe I'm going to add an arm. So I'm going to put in the shoulders and then, put in where the arms are going to go. Okay, and then he's got, some very small legs. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of put in those real quick. Okay, there we go. Got a character. That's using the pencil tool. Also, the marker tool, which is this yellow one, works relatively the same. It's a little smoother than the pencil. You can see the undo arrow right here. Okay, if I click on that, I can actually undo lots of information because I really thought that that was not good at all. Okay, clicking on here, some other things. Let's say you are drawing and you've got something that you like mostly, but you did a little mess up and you want to erase. I can click, use my eraser tool. If I want to change the size of something, I can click on the dot in the center there, and you can notice these are the different sizes. So if I want to go really big, I can use the size. Similarly, when drawing, if I click on the marker, and now when I draw, I'm drawing super large. Okay. So some other tools here. I'm just going to edit undo. I'm going to change the size back to smaller. You can also change the color of something. So if I click in this dot, I can now, my drawing will be a different color. I can also click on this paint palette down here and actually create a color and value, a darker value or a lighter value of a specific hue. Okay, I can also make something look somewhat transparent. So if I want to put colors over the top and one be sort of more faded than the other, I can do that. And you can change the hue here. You can a lot of ways of creating your own color palette. Notice it's going to put it into the existing color palette. So when I now click on my screen, that color I made is now here. If I want to actually go back to the original template, I can click, and where I click on this trash, it will let me restore the default colors. So I will click OK. Okay. So that's colors, easy enough. That's drawing tools. I'm going to show you a little bit more. We've got the fill tool up here. It looks like a little paint bucket. So if I'm drawing and I draw a shape, I can click. I'll choose a different color. I'll click. I'll choose the paint bucket, and allows you to fill in a color. It's very important that when you're filling in a color that you actually fill the entire shape. I clicked on the background there, and I filled the entire background. If I was had a shape and it was not completely filled in, I'll change it to purple this time, and I use my paint bucket tool and I click, notice it fills in the whole background because there's a gap. Okay, so it's very important that when you don't leave any gaps when you're trying to draw a form. Okay, sometimes it may not look like that there's a gap, but there actually is. So like for instance right up here, if I try to fill, right, there was a gap and that's why it filled in the whole background. Okay, so just undoing a little bit here. So what's next? We have also a couple of other tools here. We have the eyedropper tool. It actually selects a color once you've already done it. So if I, filled in a color, I could actually go and use the eyedropper tool and then select that color again. If I had, let's say, chosen red, and I was in the color red, and I was drawing away, use this other drawing tool here. This draws on top, right? And then if I wanted to select that color again, I could click on the eyedropper tool and click it, and it would change to purple. So simple enough. I just undid right there. Okay, also you've got, as I said, this tool right here is the paint on top tool. Okay, so if I have a drawing and I've already filled it in, so let's do that. I'm going to fill it in, let's say with green, and I fill it in. I can click on this draw on top tool, change the color to, let's say, purple again. And notice when I'm drawing, it'll draw directly on top, but if I draw anywhere in the paper underneath, it doesn't draw. So that tool allows me to like do shading, add highlighting if I wanted to on specific areas of a drawing. Then you have also the paint roller tool, which is another drawing tool or painting tool. I'll just change the size of this so you can see what this looks like, and I'll change the color. So when I use this tool and I paint, notice it kind of does a little bit of translucency over the top of something, but again, it's just another drawing tool. Okay, I tend to focus on just the paint marker tool right here to do my work. Okay. Some other tools are the transform tools. So when I click on that again, you can see right here, this green with the arrows pointing outward allows you to move a drawing inside of a frame. This one right here, that's the red, allows you to rotate an image. And then lastly, the blue allows you to change the scale from bigger or smaller. So that's the transform. You can also zoom in to an object, and when you zoomed in, sometimes it makes it easier to draw, so that's helpful. You can also then click on the zoom move, and allows you to move through the page while it's zoomed in to get to other areas. I can click on that, zoom back out. And then the last tool that I want to show you in here is how to, well, I'll go back and I'll do a couple other things, and then we'll show you how to save your work. Okay, so clicking back out, zooming back out. All right, I'm going to use my move tool just to move that up a little bit. So right now you're going to be drawing a construction drawing. So I've started with a construction drawing head. I use my marker, I use black. I'll make sure the size is set to a good size, and I'm just going to continue on and kind of made my character, again, he's got these little legs because it's funny looking. And you can, for the arms, I suggest you can do sort of stick figure-y, that's fine, but I suggest putting little spheres for where the hands and the elbows are if you're doing a person. Okay, so I've got my first construction drawing here. Okay, I actually suggest doing this construction drawing in a very light color. So if I wanted to, I could actually click on change my paint to, I'll just say, I'll do this blue color right here. Actually, I'll do this light gray right here. And then if I use my paint bucket tool, I can actually click on that and should change the whole thing to gray. Yeah, so if you click on the line, it'll switch it and change the color. All right, so now we're going to start to create an animation. Okay, so to do that, up at the top up here, we have an add, a minus, and a copy frames. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually add a new frame, and you can see that now added a second frame up there, and the first frame I can see a very faded out drawing of what that first frame is. Okay, so when you're trying to create animation, I can now I'm going to use my brush tool, or I mean my brush tool, and I'm going to keep the feet in the same position, but I'm going to bend the knees, and I'm going to make those hips come down lower because he's bending, and I'm going to make the whole torso come down lower because it's bending down, but I'm going to keep those forms relatively the same size. I'm also going to change the arms slightly, so so as he's bending, he's kind of lifting his arms out slightly rather than the way it was before. Okay, and then the head. All right, so now I've got my construction drawing. And if I go back and forth between those two frames, right, you can get a sense that this character is starting to bend, okay? Okay, so that's how you create multiple frames, okay? I'm going to scroll down here, okay? I'm going to do another video on how to increase layers, but right now, at this stage, I'm going to add another frame, okay? And I want to do one last thing in this drawing. Maybe he jumps really high, so he sprang up, and now his legs are straight. Actually, not undo. He jumped really high, and so I'm going to stretch out his body a little bit. And stretch out his legs. And make his arms go up. And again, it doesn't really have to be perfect right now. I'm just sort of demonstrating. Okay, so now you can see he jumped up. Okay, and if I click on the play button down at the bottom, you can see he's kind of going through that motion of all the different poses to kind of create a sense of action. Okay, I'm going to hit the pause button to stop it. And now I'm going to actually save this as a project and turn it into Google Classroom. So I'm going to click on the pencil tool. I'm going to click on the gear setting here, and you can see it says load save project. I'm going to click on the one that has the red arrow, and it's going to see downloading a file, and it gives it a name, and it's going to be saved into your phone's gallery somewhere. Okay, so I'm not going to open this right now. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go into Google Classroom. So and I'm going to make sure that I'm logged in, and all right, and then I'm going to go to the class. I'm going to click on classwork. Okay, and there it is, FlipAnim character design. I'm going to click on that, and then if I scroll up, I can see add attachment. So I'm going to click add attachment. I'm going to add a file, and you can see my phone goes onto recent files right here. So I can actually click on the file itself. If you don't have a feature like that, you can go ahead and navigate through your phone to figure out where it saved. Notice it saved as a FlipAnim project, and it gave a date with a number on it. So I'm going to click on that because I know that's my most recent one. And it's loading. Hopefully, yep, there it is. Okay, so it comes in as a text file. Don't worry, when you click on it, it'll just look like a bunch of text and letters, but that's okay. I'll be able to upload it and see the work that you've done. And then I'm going to click turn in. Okay. All right. So once you've turned it in, that's it. You're good to go. Now, I'm going to come back here to FlipAnim. Okay. Once you close this down, it may disappear on your phone. Sometimes it holds it in the browser, but let's say it was deleted. I'm going to delete this so it's no longer on there, and you open up a new document, because we are going to be using this again, and we're going to be adding to this animation as we move along. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the pencil. You're going to go to the gear icon, and this time, rather than saving it, we're going to load a project. So if I click load, I can go into my files or find that, there it is again, that FlipAnim project that I had saved. I can click on it, and I can double click on it and load it. It says, you will clear the current animation. Do you want to continue? Click OK. And it will bring that file back into play. So there it is. Okay. So that's pretty much it. That's how you can create a quick construction drawing of 3 frames using the drawing tools in FlipAnim, and save it down to your phone, and then upload it to Google Classroom, and as well as being able to access it again from your phone as we move forward and add more to the animation. All right, so that's it for the lesson.